Hello and welcome to This American Girl Reads. My name is Kirsten and today we are on the floor. And we are on the floor today because I have a pile of stuff that I need to put away and organize because I did a dressing my dolls video earlier. I have just finished filming for the next video, which also involved changing some dolls out of clothes. And I thought, so I usually put things kind of away as I go. I sort them as I go and then just bundle them all up and put them away properly when I'm done. But I thought it might be nice to just kind of throw it all together and then do a video while I put it away. And then as I'm putting it away, showing you a little bit of my organizational system, not a lot, talking about my 2025 goals for my collection. And that's because I've referenced in a couple of videos now, oh, well, I have a goal to do this, I have a goal to do this, I have a priority for this. And I thought it'd be nice to kind of just sum it all up in one video so that when I reference a goal casually, you're like, ah, yes, I know what that goal is. I have seen that video. Or not. I mean, like, maybe this is not your jam and you're like, I'll just deal with her mentioning goals and priorities as they come, and that's totally fine. But I thought it would just, it would be good. I could actually have something to do while putting things away. Chatting is fun. So very casual video today. We're on my floor. You actually do know this part of my doll room because right there are my doll shelves. This is actually my doll shelf. Up one shelf up, there are dolls. This is just the second from bottom shelf, and the bottom shelf, which is where right now I am keeping some furniture that I don't have easy places for. So the wheelchair that my number 112 Carnes uses, a telescope, gaming chair, down here is a piano, a grill, part of the coffee shop. So but that's not the point of today's video. Today's video is not to show you where I keep all my stuff. It is to talk about collection priorities while I clean up this enormous pile of clothes and get it organized. Okay, so I think the first thing I'm going to do is just go through all of this and sort it. And I'm sorry that I don't have a good camera angle to show you this, but I will show you at some point, and I'll at least hold pieces up while I'm sorting them, I think. We'll figure this out as we go. Okay. So talking about my collection goals, my first goal that I added this year, it was not even a thought. It was just this has to be a goal, is that I want to bring in 3 or fewer dolls into my collection. Last year, I got really nuts with purchasing far more than I thought I would, because in the past I've always had a really, really specific focus for my collection, and so that helped keep me on track with what I was trying to do. And that was historicals, and I didn't buy I wasn't really interested in contemporary or modern dolls, which kind of kept me away from the Truly Me spiral, the CYO or custom spiral. And I've never really been interested in the Girl of the Year line. It's a good line. It's just, I think it's because it's not something I grew up with at all. Historicals, grew up with completely. The American Girl Today line was introduced in 1995 when I was 7, and that was my one doll growing up. So even though there weren't as many of those dolls, there was only 20 when I was a kid, I still was familiar with the concept, whereas the Gaudis didn't start until 2001 when I was out of American Girl at the time. So they never clicked with me in terms of collecting. I have a few. I will continue to take a look at them every year when they come out to make a determination about if I want one. But for the most part, they're not my thing. So it was really, really easy to stay prioritized when I was really focusing strictly on historicals. But as I've said in my All My Dolls video, is that at a certain point I realized I could make characters and like tell my own stories with dolls in a similar way that you do with historical dolls. And so that kind of led to my explosion into kind of my expansion of the World by Us line. And so then I started collecting more and more and more. And last year that meant that I brought in, I think, like 9 dolls, which is the most I've ever added to my collection in a single year. And it felt like too much. Like, I am so grateful for the dolls I have and the dolls that I got last year. Every single one of them is a doll that I love and I'm excited about. But realistically, getting 9 dolls in a year meant that I didn't get to spend as much time with those dolls, connecting with those dolls as I would like. I am still very connected to them. I still feel a lot of affection and love for them. And again, so happy to have them in my collection. But when I started collecting, I mean, I still got a lot of dolls in a year, don't get me wrong. 6 to 8 in the years before last year. But nonetheless, I don't want my collection to keep growing at that rate every year, because it just means that I have less time for every individual doll, especially because I switched jobs last year. Yeah, I've been in my current job for almost a year now. And it requires a lot more from me, a lot more time, a lot more energy. So I don't have as much energy to devote to my dolls. And so therefore, I set a goal of saying that I only wanted to add 3 or fewer dolls to my collection this year. That was the goal at the start of the year. I have since amended it. I think in some ways saying 3 or fewer when I knew that I had dolls that I still wanted was perhaps not the most realistic of goals, and so I'm amending it to be 5 or fewer. And that is just like, yes, I'm moving the goalposts, but there's a reason for that. I got Simone, my pink Stardust holiday doll, which I wanted her, but I didn't anticipate being able to get her and being able to afford her at a price that I was comfortable with. So she was never part of my calculation. And I just ordered a CYO for a very good reason, that when she arrives and I unbox her for you, for me, but with you, I will share that reason when she arrives. And then I know maybe she's actually come out by the time you're seeing this video, but I think she will probably be still like a week or 2 away. But there's a new Truly Me coming out that I know I'm going to get to be Simone's twin sister, Billy. So that'll be 3 right there. And while I don't necessarily have a ton of other dolls on my list per se, I don't want to close the door because of an arbitrary number that I set at the beginning of the year. Again, I still want to keep my collection small. If Billy, I don't know what her number will be. That part hasn't necessarily leaked yet. When I get Billy, if there's no other doll in the year that I'm like, yes, I must have her, then I don't need to buy any more dolls. I don't need to compulsively add dolls to my collection. So if it turns out being 3, awesome, great. But I wanted to give myself a little more wiggle room, and so I upped it to 5. So at this point, I have sorted my piles. This is the hang-up pile. This is the overwear, outerwear pile, long sleeve shirt pile, the long pants pile, short sleeve shirt pile, the weird stuff that isn't any of those piles. And I have a bunch of shoes and stockings and hair ribbons here too, which I'll take care of in a minute. But right here, if I can turn this is a Target shelf that I bought before I stopped shopping at Target. And it has a bunch of these soft cubes in it. And in these cubes, I have 6 of them. I have short sleeves, long sleeves, outer and overwear. And then the bottom shelf, which you can't really see, is shorts, long pants, and weird stuff that doesn't really fit into any of those categories that I don't want to hang up. So I'm going to start pulling out those and shoving these back into where they go. My next goal, this goal might be in flux, is I wanted to craft 5 doll foods this year. I very much agree with Christy from AG Takes Over and several other people in the community that being an American Girl doll collector, being in this space, shouldn't mean exclusively buying things. It can if that's the way you like to engage, and I'm not trying to say that what you do is wrong. But for me, I wanted to explore more creative ways to engage. And so I said, I want to craft 5 doll foods because there are some Jewish cultural foods in particular that I would like my dolls to be able to have for different holidays that some people out there have made Jewish cultural foods, which is awesome. But I have a Jew in particular who is from an Iraqi Jewish heritage, and most of the Jewish cultural foods that you're going to find are like more along the Ashkenazi Jewish cultural line rather than the Sephardic or Mizrahi. So I would like to be able to make some of those foods so that those dolls who in their stories would have these foods that are passed down through their family, I want them to be able to have those for the different holidays. So I want to craft 5 doll foods. I was worried that this was going to be difficult now that Joanne is closing. But, oh, I put these in the wrong one. But I actually looked, and Michael's also sells Sculpey clay, which I think is what you're kind of supposed to use to get started in making doll food. And I've checked out a book from the library about how to craft doll food. So I've done some of the preliminary work. I just need to actually do it. Then a goal that I have not succeeded in a single month this year is I wanted to spend less per year and per month on doll related expenses. I'll be transparent. My monthly allowance, which is just the money that my partner and I each get for no questions asked fun money, which he usually spends on Legos or cycling gear or swim gear or, things for his hobbies. It's essentially hobby money. We each get $200 each month. As of right now, that could change and change to make it less. But we each get $200 a month, and I was really wanting to switch to only spending $150 of my allowance per month on doll related expenses because I do have other hobbies. I have other things that I enjoy doing. I play The Sims, I play D&D, I play a couple of other computer games, I play on my Switch, and so when I'm spending my entire allowance on doll stuff every single month, it doesn't leave me a lot of room to engage in my other hobbies. And sometimes I need those hobbies more than I need dolls because hey, playing The Sims or playing on my Switch, those are really good brainless activities. And sometimes I really need something brainless. And dolls can be kind of brainless, but because of the way I like to engage with my collection, it often isn't. So I really want to spend less on dolls per month. That has not happened yet. I keep saying that I want that to happen, that I want that to be a priority, but I keep coming across things that I'm really interested in and finding good deals on things that I already cared about. And, as of right now, it's the beginning of April. It's the first week of April when I'm filming this. And I haven't gone super wild this month, but I'm already sitting here planning out, I want to get this from Maple Lee, and I'm looking for these particular clothes, this particular style of clothes, so I need to go to Etsy. And I don't know if that is honestly a realistic goal for me. I don't know if I should think about reframing that or what, because the other thing that I'm finding is I wrote that goal before I entered springtime, and springtime is an incredibly busy time at my workplace, and I have not been able to sit down and just do things with my dolls for fun in 2 months. And that goal was to push me to do other hobbies and leave money for other hobbies, but I'm finding I'm not even having time for my dolls right now. And so maybe I want to let that goal go, as long as I'm not spending over what my allowance is each month. Maybe I should just focus on not spending more than what my allowance is every month, so that I do still get to engage with my primary hobby. Doll collecting is still my primary hobby. And stop worrying about, am I putting an appropriate amount of money and percentaging up my time appropriately, when right now just having any hobbies is a freaking miracle. Okay, you're going to start hearing the sound of Velcro because I have to start putting things on hangers. So that was goals 1 through 3. And so I have 2 more kind of like general goals that I'll cover next. The first one is to host one American Girl social event this year. So I'm very lucky that I have local collectors in my area that we get together and meet up socially periodically. You may have been able to tell from the fact that I reference Christy from AG Takes Over on a somewhat regular basis. Christy is one of those local collectors who I'm friends with. There's a couple of others, and then there's also just, there's some that I'm like closer to, and then there's the wider community that I know. And we usually try and have like one social gathering a quarter. So one in spring, one summer, one fall, one winter. I haven't been able to make the last couple because of either working or being sick. I get sick a lot, so I have to bow out of things pretty regularly. But last year I hosted our summer meetup in a park. I rented a pavilion. My partner grilled for everyone. We had like a little swap and buy thing, and then just hanging out and taking photos. And so I have another goal to host another social event this year. Because of my schedule, I'm in my final year of my master's program. And usually when I do my master's classes, I only take one at a time because of the type of program it is. You can only take one at a time. I take one at a time, and I take a class, and then I skip a class, and then I take a class, and then I skip a class. And that's what I've been doing for the past 2 years, but I'm entering my final year here, and I'm just kind of ready to be done. So I'm gonna, basically, I'll be doing the May-June class, the July-August class. I will skip the September-October class because that's a busy time at work. And then I'll do the November-December class, the January-February class, and the March-April class. So I got to knock out 5 classes this year, and that's a lot for me. And so I think when I say that I want to host one American Girl social event, what I mean this year is that doesn't have to be like the big group, that can be that I have people over for dinner, or I have a particular activity for a small group of friends that I want to do. It doesn't have to be the big, wider Ohio group. It can be just a couple of friends. So that's one goal. I'm going to start putting shoes away at this point. And just to give you a sense, I have a very large chest over on that side of my doll room. And I put all of my doll shoes here. I will show you. Here are Kit's chicken keeping shoes. These are some of my favorite shoes. I just pop them into a little bag to keep them together. I do zip it partially closed, but I leave it slightly open so that if there's any humidity or anything, it doesn't get caught in the bag and potentially destroy the materials of the shoe. And then I toss it into my chest of shoes. Originally I had them just kind of loose, and I enjoy just kind of digging through them. But having them loose made the digging take 5 times as long, and I don't like digging that much. So now they live in little bags. So I'm going to be putting all my shoes back into their bags. So the final goal that I set at the beginning of this year was to get all my dolls to 11 photos. And that's still a goal of mine. That one isn't really changing so much, except that I might have to adapt it, because when I said 11 photos, for me at the time, what that is, I have a spreadsheet of all of my dolls. I have lots of spreadsheets with all my dolls on it. But this particular spreadsheet for this goal is, I have a spreadsheet that lists all my dolls, and then it lists how many photos I have posted of them on Instagram. And that's what I meant when I said I wanted all my dolls to get to 11 photos. I wanted to have every doll that is listed to have 11 photos over the time that I've had my Instagram, have them have 11 photos total on my Instagram or more. I mean, obviously many of my dolls have a lot more, especially the ones who've been in my collection for longer. However, because of some things that have been going on with Instagram, in my particular case, one of the final straws for me was suppression of the Addie Walker tag. I have been really disenchanted with Instagram as of late. I have bigger bags for boots and bigger shoes. But yeah, I've been really disenchanted with Instagram. I'm really disenchanted with social media on the whole. And so I still want to get all my dolls to 11 photos, but I haven't decided the best way about how I want to share those photos anymore. Because I'm just really, really uncomfortable with a lot of what Instagram is. And I still love the community there, and the ease of posting is really nice. Like I know how to post there. I'm comfortable with it. It's easy for me. A couple people suggested Tumblr as an alternative. I've had a Tumblr, God, since 2010. I am old school. So I'm very comfortable and familiar with Tumblr, but I mostly use Tumblr for text posting, for my fandoms and reblogging stuff. And so I have a side blog now for my American Girl stuff on Tumblr, and it's not as easy to post. It's not as clean. It's not as, Instagram, I can throw a photo up, write a quick caption, be done within 2 minutes. Great. Love that for me. Tumblr feels like I want to put more time into it, but I don't have more time to put into it. So I still want to get all my dolls to 11 photos because I still want to be engaging with my dolls in that way. I love doll photography. That is one of my main ways that I, spend time with my dolls. Haven't been able to do it much this year, obviously. But my disenchantment with Instagram is making it difficult for me to want to do things with my doll photos, and I don't have a solution to that yet, and it's really disappointing that there's just stuff going on that even I like to keep my doll space kind of. I would never say that I'm going to keep my doll space apolitical, because basically everything is political, and I do make very conscientious decisions about my doll collection, in part based on my personal ethics, morals, and politics. But I do like to keep some of the very real capital P politics out of my doll space. Like, I don't want to talk about the presidency. I don't want to talk about the Senate. I don't want to talk about any of that. And it really sucks when some of these big world issues are interfering with your ability to find joy. I have other spaces where I engage in capital P politics, in a serious way. And I really wanted, I like American Girl to be like my space to just be happy. That's why in the magical little world that my extension of the World by Us line lives, there's not a lot, like, it's a very idyllic place. Like, it's just a happy place where girls get to just be happy and get to be girls, and like they have challenges, but they're not like end of the world kind of challenges. And it just sucks that there's things going on in the world that are impacting my ability to find joy in my most joyful hobby. Small potatoes comparatively. Like, don't get me wrong, like, in comparison to a lot of the things that are going on, very small potatoes, not that big of a deal. But, that's why I haven't been posting on my Instagram as much, is because I'm not super comfortable with continuing to engage with that platform. And I'm still trying to find what my happy medium is. Okay, with that delightfully depressing aside, we're going to move on. At this point, I'm into some of the finicky stuff. So, like, this is Rebecca's Hanukkah ribbon. I have socks. I have Nanea's underclothes, hair ribbons, and things like that. So now I'm going to work on putting those away. And the way I store a lot of this stuff, not exclusively, but a lot of it, is I have old American Girl boxes from things that I've purchased, and I use a label maker to indicate what is in it, and then I store it in there because it was cheap. I've already spent all the money on this sort of thing. I already bought Courtney's awesome accessories, so why not get some use out of the box as well? So that is how I store a lot of the smaller accessories, is by using different American Girl boxes that their products came in. So those are my 5 main collection goals. And then I do have some general collection priorities. So when I'm thinking about like where I am spending my money, I'm trying to think carefully so I'm not just spending it on whatever pops up on eBay that's cheap. So some of my collection priorities this year is I would love to get the jumper and boots set, you know, the one with the purple jumper and the green long sleeve shirt, and then it comes with like these purple boots. I personally don't care about the boots, but I'd love to have the jumper and the shirt, just because I also think the shirt is pretty usable in other spaces, in other ways. I want to get, this has been on my list for 2 years now, and I'm just not in a place where I want to pay the prices for this that it's going for. So this box is jewelry. I can't really see that. It's super tiny. I forgot to check the font size before I hit print. But yeah, I want to get Rebecca's summer outfit. It's the like light purple long dress with the hat. I don't really care about the shoes. I have other shoes that would work well for that outfit, so I'm not fussed about that, but I do care about the hat. I am a sucker for doll hats. I love doll hats. So I want the dress and the hat, and that's been on my list for 2 years, and I'm just not willing to pay for it yet. I want to get Caroline's travel outfit, the full outfit, so that is the dress, the Spencer, the bonnet, and the boots. And again, similar to Rebecca's summer outfit, it's going for like $200 right now. Same with Rebecca's summer outfit. And I don't love that price. I could potentially spend that price if I really want to. But I'm not there yet. I need to get Felicity's pinner cap for her winter, holiday, her Christmas ball gown, the blue one. I have the dress and all the other accessories, but I don't have the pinner cap. I'd like to get that as well, so I have the full complete. Similarly, I want to get Felicity's summer lace cap. So I have her summer dress and the ribbon belt, and I have the actual hat, but I don't have the lace cap that goes underneath of it, and I'd like to pick that up just to have that be fully complete. And that's the very specific things that I want, but otherwise I want to get some like little mini Nintendo Switches for a couple of my dolls. Those are usually like keychains that you can like cut off the keychain portion, and then you have like a little Nintendo Switch for your dolls, because a couple of my dolls play the Switch. I need to get like mini dolls and plushies, because one of my dolls, Ramona, my number 54, she loves stuffed animals. She likes dolls. And so I'd like to let her have some of those so that for photo taking purposes, it shows that she has this hobby. I would like to I need to get more sports ball stuff, for Najud and Ola. Najud is my 122 and Olamide is my 123. They both play different sports, and they play sports together, and I have like nothing because I am not a sports ball person. But so I have basketball uniforms for them, but I need to get some other stuff as well so that they can play their full range of sports. I want to get, what is that? Oh, I need to get some dance outfits. Tewila, my Moana, is a ballet dancer. Among other things, and I don't think I have a single ballet outfit. I don't have a single ballet outfit, so I need to get a ballet outfit for her so she can have like a nice recital moment. I need to in general just get more STEM stuff. I have a couple of different dolls who are into STEM. I have some stuff. So like I can take some like decent photos, but I'd like to extend the range of what I have. And then I also would like to get, just in general, more armchairs, more sofas, more dining chairs, just chairs for the dolls to sit, because I have like 2 dining chairs that are, they're the wood ones from Molly's original dining set. Yeah, I think from her original dining set. And that's about it. I have an armchair, I have Rebecca's chaise, I have the community center sofa. But I need to get some more pieces that could work more cohesively in a photo. The chaise and the armchair the armchair is versatile. It could be any time period, so long as you like more old-fashioned kind of things. Same with the chaise. Those can be a little more in range, but my community center sofa only works in particular photos. The two dining chairs I have are wonderful, but because I only have two, like, I hope I only have a scene that only requires 2 dolls and not like 4 or 5. And so I just like have more options for my dolls to have different furniture to use. So those are my collection priorities. And at this point I have, oh yeah, and here's socks, and I just shove all the socks in here. And at this point I've largely cleaned up, and it's just a matter of actually like putting the boxes back where they belong and then going and hanging up the dresses that I've put on the hangers. So there's not too much more to do in terms of the organization and the cleanup. So that's always nice, is when it doesn't take too long. But then I guess, I started January 1st. I did not plan on having an AGTube channel, right? I had been thinking about it for a really long time, on and off, but I hadn't taken that step yet, and so I didn't have channel goals. That was not part of my goal setting for the year, and so I did just kind of think through a couple really quick just to add them in here, because I guess, goals are not necessarily, like, for me, some things are definitely goals. Like, I would very much like to make 5 doll foods. But sometimes they're priorities, like making sure that I'm prioritizing doll photography, and in particular prioritizing my dolls who don't have as many photos by trying to get all my dolls to 11 photos. And then some of my goals are really more like creating some structure for myself so that I don't just go all over the place. So that's my 5 or fewer dolls in a year, and trying to spend less on doll stuff so that I have money for other hobbies. Those are kind of more like fence posts for me to like keep me reined in a little bit. And so my channel goals are kind of along the same lines. So my first goal, I guess, I have no idea if any of these are realistic. I have made, at this point, like 5 videos maybe, so no clue if these are realistic. I would love if I could reach 300 subscribers. I think that would be fun. That would be cool. That would be nice. I have, as of filming this, I think 125, which I feel is like pretty decent. So 300 might be doable maybe by December. I would like to continue to post once a week. I'm trying to pre-film as much as I can to be prepared for the weeks where there's just going to be too much going on in my life to actually do any filming. So like, I am filming right now. I'm filming 2 to 3 videos this weekend because the next month of my life is I'm basically living at my workplace because I'm so busy, and I'm not going to have time or energy to film. And so I'm trying to get some stuff done now so that I can continue to have 1 post a week. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do more than that. Sure, I have lots of ideas, but I also have lots of busy times where being able to have like a nice healthy backlog would be helpful. I want to show off some of the less discussed American Girl stuff. I'm not buying a ton of new stuff directly from American Girl these days, with the exception of the CYO I just ordered. So there's not going to be as much of that. Yeah, I'm still going to show, things that I've added to my collection. That will definitely be a thing. But I also, I care a lot about the books. Like I have already done a video about the mysteries that I think has come out at this point. And then I have some other random stuff, because one of the things for me is that I grew up in the American Girl space, not necessarily as a collector, but like I grew up with American Girl magazine. I had a subscription for 3 years, and at the time that I had the subscription was the time that they were releasing some paper dolls in each magazine. And I just recently got my childhood collection back of my American Girl paper dolls, which I'm super excited about. So like, I'd like to show those. I have American Girl puzzles. I have American Girl plays. When I say that American Girl was like such a huge part of my childhood, like, and I say that it's not just about the dolls, but like my Girl Scout troop when I was a kid actually put on one of the American Girl plays and had like a one-night performance of it. So like those are things. Oh, American Girl Premieres, the computer game from the 90s where you can like make your own plays with the computerized characters. Like I would love to be able to show some of those things on my channel because they were so important to me, and I think that they're a really neat piece of nostalgia, and they're not as talked about in the AGTube community. So that's a goal of mine. I want to learn some new editing techniques. I learned to edit in 2020 because at the time I worked at the university library, and we had to be able to teach people how to access resources virtually when they had never had to do that before because of the pandemic. So I learned how to edit videos using the software that my university provides, which is Adobe Premiere Pro. And I learned very basic stuff, and I taught myself very basic stuff in a very short amount of time. And so I know the basics of editing with Adobe Premiere Pro. And I'd like to learn some more editing techniques at this point. I'd like to figure out how to overlay photos. I'd like to, the lighting is not always great in my space, clearly. And I know that there's a way to do color correction in Adobe Premiere Pro, and I'd like to maybe explore what that might look like. I want to, now that I'm not trying to learn editing techniques by myself, teaching myself solely on the fly with the goal of I have to learn this because in the next 5 minutes I have to put out a video for my students. Now that I don't have that time pressure, I'd like to explore and learn some more things just for the fun of it and just to be able to figure out how to do it. And then my final goal is don't let the fame get to my head. And by that, I just mean like, I know that when you make content, when you put out content, as the kids call it, it's very easy to get caught up in the feedback that you're getting, that what the stats are telling you, and try and shift what you're doing based on the stats. Like, are you getting views? Are you getting subscribers? Are certain types of videos not getting as much engagement? Are you losing people on some types of videos? And I know I'm obsessive. I can be a little obsessive, and I really love data. I really, really love data. And I want to make sure that I'm very thoughtful about not letting that become the sole driver of doing this. I am doing this because I want to have fun and because I wanted to find new ways to engage with my hobby that required me to try something new. One of my 2025 goals in general in my life was to try something new. Done. But I still want it to be fun. I still want it to be enjoyable. I want it to be something where I get to play with my dolls and show my dolls off and not care too much about what people think. Like, I want you to have fun. I want you to enjoy it too. But, if I'm going to make a wild guess here. I don't know because it hasn't come out yet, but I'm going to probably take a wild guess and say that my Why I Love American Girl Mysteries video did not do as well as some of my other videos. I don't care, or at least I hope I don't care. The goal is to not care. The goal is to not care because I love the American Girl Mysteries and I love the books and I love all this other random AG ephemera and I want to share that, and I don't want to stop doing those things because of an analytics thing telling me that it doesn't do as well. I don't want to care about that. I just want to have fun, and I don't care if I'm speaking into a void. That is my goal, is to not care, is to not let the fame get to me. And so with that, those are my collection goals, my priorities, my channel goals for 2025. Yes, I'm putting them out there in April, but in my defense, I didn't start making videos until March. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and actually just put this stuff away, which you don't need to see. Maybe at some point I'll do a how do I store all my doll stuff video, because it's chaotic. It deserves to be seen at some point, if only so that you can be like, you know what, I'm good. My organization system makes more sense for me, while I'm, sitting here like, look, this makes total sense, right? Right? That makes total sense. I hope you had an enjoyable time watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe should you so desire. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.